Discuss with you today something very serious: soulmates. There seems to be sometimes a question as to, well, what are the differences between soulmates, kindred spirits, twin flames? I find generally, though, the glue that holds them all together is unconditional love. As of late, as you may know, I've been through a lot. Between having my, just 2 weeks ago, I'm a quick recoverer, having my meniscus repaired, 2 tears in my meniscus, and suffering from a broken hip prosthetic at the same time. It can be quite unbearable. But frankly, yesterday was really a beautiful day. I started my readings for the first time yesterday. My first client brought me a dozen roses. That's how much my clientele love me. A guy came by last night to discuss purchasing some of my artwork, and although I am never one to sell my pieces because it's like selling my children, and I often do pine over the paintings that I have sold, I'm going to sell this young man one of my masterpieces. It's a painting I did when I had my hip done for the first time of Salvador Dali, and floating through the space are people playing piano, books, melted timepieces, and 2 young men floating through space with their surgical scars where they've had 2 hip replacements. I just felt that this painting is as old as the young man that's buying it, but he is such a Dali, and by the way, here's a portrait of Dali in the mix. He's such a fanatic for Salvador Dali, and for me, nothing would be more appropriate for him than to have a Dali painting done by Daniel. I don't have it really here on display to show you guys because there are many of my masterpieces that I've never put on Facebook. So although you can go to my fan page, and I think currently it's under the subtitle Monarch, and see some of the most amazing pieces of art, which many people have taken over the past year, I've noticed. They've all stolen the art, basically. And I understand. Art is something that you covet and you want so desperately. So it's sort of, in a way, an honor that people want to steal my paintings and print them and put them up on their walls. But the masterpiece I'm selling, Philip Crow, the fabulous jewelry designer, is because I haven't photographed it. I don't want it to be put on YouTube. I want him to own it. I want him to be able to enjoy it. It's private. I don't want it just to be out there for the world to make a million prints of. So he's going to have on his hands quite an original and frankly, very personal piece of mine. The reason I bring up the painting, though, is because it does include in it not only my hero, Dali, and I call the painting The One That Got Away because he's one of the artists I never got to meet in my lifetime, and I've met many. But in this painting, there's a representation of 2 guys that have indeed their surgical scars from hip replacements from the 2 that I've had. So it's a very personal piece to me. My wife has seen me through those surgeries, and people that I love that are either kindred spirit-like or twin flame-like have been there when my eyes have woken up after surgery. It was very comforting to know that those people were there and they cared for me. It's been really rough yesterday because I'm trying to recover from this. And last night, I couldn't help but break down because the hip replacement hurt so much. And I tried to put up a good front because I had a beautiful day. I had roses from a client that loves me. I have a dude here that's going to spend anything for a piece of my art, and I'm being very realistic with the price because I just want him to have it. I told him, no amount of money matters to me, frankly. You could never pay enough for the piece. You just tell me what you want to pay for it, and I'm giving it to you because I know you'll treasure it. But within that painting, he knows lies. Pieces of my hair that fell in that painting when I did it. Cats that I loved that are gone. That their fur, their DNA is in that painting. The kisses my wife gave me after surgery are in that painting. But I'm releasing it for a reason. Because it's a testament to my soulmate, who I'm lucky enough to still have in my life. My wife has been with me for 40 years. I know how lucky I am. But I didn't want to break down and cry last night in front of her. But I had to, because I'm in that much pain, and because she's there for me, and it's all right, and you have to be honest with the person that you love. That's That's what a soulmate is for, to treasure you and let you know that they're there for you, that you don't have to hide your pain or and sometimes your joy or your complexities. And of course, I've learned after all these years, I knew it from the very beginning. I've never had to hide anything from her. In fact, in the course of my life, and all the soulmates I've ever known, I've been able to look into the eyes of them immediately and know they are my soulmates, and they always will be. Will some idiots tell you that you can only be soulmates with your opposite gender? Yeah. They don't know what they're talking about. You can have soulmates that are certainly the same gender of yours, and you can be homosexual or you can be heterosexual. One way or another, you can look into the eyes as a dude, into another guy's eyes, and know when that person is going to be in your life forever, and a spark lights and you know that's a soulmate. And soulmates don't have to necessarily have anything to do with sexuality. It's something else. It's a fire within. That's why they can call it sometimes a twin flame or a kindred spirit. You can look into someone's eyes even if they're a stranger and for that instant know, this is someone that's going to be in my life forever. One example of it is, my friend Kim was taking this film right now. The day we met many years ago on a campus, we looked into each other's eyes and it was as if I've known you forever, and perhaps if I haven't, I want to. It's that kind of a connection, and it's been that way ever since 30-something freaking years later. I have a buddy of mine that many years ago we went to a dance club. It was in 1980 when, I'm an old man, when Yoko Ono's single came out, Walking on Thin Ice. She loved John Lennon. She was greatly hated. Why, I don't know. She never broke up the Beatles. She was the muse of John Lennon. John chose her. He loved her. He was a Libra. He needed real love and he found it in Yoko. She wrote something unbelievably miraculous today on Facebook about how much that song meant to her. How the musicians to this day say it was the best guitar work John ever did on that single. It was her first #1 hit, and that he died with that finished song in his bloody hands in front of the Dakota. You know, on Long Island in 1980, I went to a dance club with my buddy. Not Kim, a different friend of mine. And I asked the DJ, I want to dance to Walking on Thin Ice, would you play it? He said, whatever. Wait. He said, wait. I waited 3 hours till he put it on, till you know, just to teach me a lesson about liking that song, which is fantastic and ahead of its time, by the way. Everyone loves it. It's a hit now. Anyway, when he put it on, all these myopic, boorish Long Islanders jumped off the dance floor and scattered as far as the way they could, while me and this guy friend of mine danced like we have never danced before on an open dance floor that belonged to us entirely. And I danced that dance of liberation. I danced that dance of freedom. I let it go for John, for Yoko, for love. I cut that floor to ribbons, and while all those drunks judged us, stared at us, just looked at us like, whatever. And I thought, you know what, doesn't matter. I'm loving this song. Yoko's an icon. John's a god, and you know what? I'm going to dance my best, and I'm proud of it. But the point is, a soulmate is a soulmate is a soulmate. So, that's the moment I realized how much I loved Gary, because he's just a regular, straight dude who was willing to dance on the dance floor with me to Walking on Thin Ice and didn't give a crap what anybody else thought as long as him and me enjoyed ourselves, which is what life is all about. And you enjoy life a whole lot more with your soulmate. And with people in your life that you know when you look into their eyes, are always going to be there for you. They love you unconditionally. That has got to be the greatest treasure in life. And there are many people I've met along the way since I've done readings who have been so sweet and so kind to me. They sure have come as close as anyone could come to soulmates. I know not everyone seems to have the luxury, and sometimes we do have to, not myself, but some have to go from relationship to relationship, maybe finding it. But love is everywhere. And I know that sometimes the hardest thing is that our soulmates aren't with us in this lifetime. But if I could have my way, this lifetime is not enough for me and Nancy. I don't think many lifetimes would be enough for me and her, and me and others that I consider to be of soulmate caliber. I write a lot of beautiful things on Facebook, and I don't know if people think it takes me many hours to put that together, but it doesn't. I can put something beautiful together in, frankly, a minute and a half. And I put something on Facebook today, it's so easy for me to open up my heart chakra that it comes through rather effortlessly. But of course I can't always remember it verbatim. So what I put on Facebook today is as follows. In regards to Nancy, in regards to the death of Osama bin Laden, and when his spirit went to the gates of heaven to be judged, I could feel the restlessness of every single person that ever died in the Twin Trade Towers, and all those people whose families have been heartbroken are finding either some way to forgive, or some way to resolve, or just some way to bear it. You can feel the restlessness in the heavens. As a result of that, I wrote this today. I have to read my own, I have to figure out if I can read my own handwriting. With what's going on lately, this should be making you more alive, more present, more in the moment. Everything could disappear in a second. Who do you treasure? Who do you love? What are you doing for those someones, for that person lately, without being asked? Say it soon. Say it now. There's tension in the air. There's protest on the wind. Don't look at it. Instead, look into the eyes of someone you love. And one other thing, of course, I've learned to become quite the aficionado of the plant world. As you can see, my wife and I collect every year our lilacs, and we place them all around the bedroom every night. In May, they hypnotize us to a beautiful sleep, and we have wonderful dreams. I can't even tell you how many people privately emailed me this week saying they had a dream with me in it, and it was so very specific to what's going on in their own lives. Nancy just recently got these unbelievably bicolored petunias. They're out of this world, and of course, her absolute favorite is these azaleas. I hope that they're showing up in this bright light. They're tinged in pink. Bicolored's not the right word. Striated isn't either. I'm trying to remember what they call. It'll come to me, but probably after the video's over. But oh my God, they're lovely. It's one of her favorites. It's nice to know what your wife's favorite flower is. But speaking of plants, though, what I wanted to mention, though, is another thing I just kind of just jotted down is that, you know, every flower has a specific relationship with the insect that pollinates it. And what's very interesting is quite often the insects that are drawn to certain flowers are somewhat shaped like the flower they pollinate. There's sort of a love dynamic between let's say, the bee, the butterfly, the hummingbird, and the flower that it falls in love with, basically. So the unique thing is, it's almost like it's like us. These insects kind of look for their double. They want to really make love to it. They have, as I said before, there's an understanding between the two of them, something very significant, some sort of innate sense of love-making. And because of this, the world becomes more alive. Because of this, between human beings, between animals, between plants and insects, the beauty continues. It's love. It's the insects' love for the flowers that allow the radiance, which we indeed do as well, but via an extension of love, continue the extension and growth of radiance. Thanks to the magic of editing, the word is variegated, is the flower that Nancy likes. But in ending, before we do a reading, if you've got a soulmate in your life, you are one lucky guy or gal. If you got an animal you love that's like a kindred spirit or a familiar to you, you're a lucky individual. Right now, as that little noise you hear right now is Troy going ballistic with his little toy. He's happy. He's in love right now. Come here. With his little mouse. He's coming to me with it. He's like a little puppy. Siamese are like that. But I know that there are people in the world that might not be so sure where their soulmate does lie. Where is that person for them? You know what? Don't give up hope. I've seen so many times in life that if you're open to it, that energy field will be drawn to you. Keep your heart chakra open. Don't be afraid to feel the joy and even the pain, because it's worth it. And that's what your soulmate wants to see in your eyes. You just being real. That's what it boils down to. And when it comes to being real, there's no other psychic more than myself that just tells it like it is and takes the energy fields exactly as they expect to be translated by the universe. So that's it. Let's do, on these poor broken legs of the wounded healer, read. Okay. So, the painting I put on top, actually, the one that's going to get sold, and has been in the deck for 21 years, is indeed the Salvador Dali piece with the fishhook in his mouth, the painting called The One That Got Away. And there's the two guys at the top with the incision marks for the hip replacement, Dali's signature melted watch, a gentleman looking through a tubular apparatus, very Yellow Submarine from the Beatles, and something based on actually my buddy that I danced in the dance floor with. He's a piano player, playing music as perhaps sinking into the water. Very unique piece, very personal. And here I am, about to sell it to him. It means a lot. And I know it does to him. That's why I'm selling it. Anyway, that's it. Let's do a read. Let's see what the vibes have to say in light of our mindset, which is soulmates, kindred spirits, twin flames. The vibes say this today. Enjoy some. Siamese can be a handful. Number one says this. Okay. Okay. It's a beautiful vibrational field. It's ruled by, it's a Kabbalistic vibe. Yesod. Yesod is the vibe that represents gain. This vibration, they say, sometimes represents 3 times 3 times 3. It represents multiplication. And that sometimes multiplication can represent complication. It's interesting it's 3, representing you, a soulmate. Maybe another soulmate. Maybe then 3 more. Then maybe 3 more. The notion is, love begets love begets love. You can have many soulmates. They can come and go. They can live or die. But they matter, and they'll always exist. Now, what's interesting about this vibe that's coming through, though, however, is it represents that notion that whatever these triangles represent, whoever these people are in your life, it's important that they are in your life, but they don't have to represent competition. Everyone that loves each other should know that they're all realizing a common dream. That makes a big difference. You're not in competition. You're realizing a common dream, and therefore you're realizing a dream, and you're ultimately then creating gain. All right, nice first vibe. Put them between my crutches, and vibrational field number 2 says this. Seems to want to come out, as you've seen before it happens. It is blue, the throat chakra. So, has a little bit to do with the poetry I mentioned to you earlier. You got to say it. It's important that you don't just take for granted that that soulmate knows I love them. No, you know what? Maybe they do. But you're going to regret someday if you didn't say it when you had the chance. And all the people that I read that have suffered because of the falling of that giant 11, the World Trade Towers, knows what that feels like when there's a message on their answer machine that they still have from the one that they loved. And they didn't get a chance that day to get to the phone to say, I love you too. So if you've got the chance, by God, say it. You'll be happy you did. Because anything can happen. So can good things. And the final vibe, number 3, says this. It's a vibrational field of balance. And the suggestion of it, it's rather Daniel-esque in its imagery. It's my image of 2 cake bushes cut into different pieces and made to something quite abstract. You can't see it from here, but trust me, it's quite outrageous. But the notion is, don't be afraid that you'll be disappointed. I think that's the biggest problem with friends of mine that have failed in love. They are too afraid that they might get disappointed or their heart might get broken. Now that's the price you pay for surrendering and giving your heart to someone else. But I must tell you, it's worth it. I've had a few people break my heart in the past, and I love them anyway. I even love them for breaking my heart, because you know what? It made me stronger. It made me more loving, and it made me more appreciative of the ones that didn't do that to me. Everything's okay. So, may you start with loving yourself. Then may it transcend to loving other people and may it ultimately lead you into the realm of soulmates.